Welcome to Transitional Objects, a podcast about grief, friendship, trauma, healing, and the strange cosmic magic that shapes us when we're not looking. We're two longtime friends and therapists who've been through some things, a lot of things. And now we're talking about the big stuff, what we carried, what we let go of, and what we're still very much figuring out. Unfiltered, occasionally spiritual, always real. Think of it like therapy, but with more cosmic detours and fewer billing codes. Thanks for being here.
Hey guys, hey Laura, welcome back.
Oh, hi.
This is our third episode of Transitional Objects.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about that?
Good. I'm excited. I feel like we're still trying to, I don't know. I like to try to have a plan and a structure. So I've been we were talking before we started recording and I'm just trying to plan it all out, but I know that doesn't work. We just need to let it unfold. So I'm hoping I get more comfortable with just that, let's just see how it goes. We don't need a plan.
Right. Play it by ear. I mean, kind of just go with the flow. I find that when you don't have such a strict, rigid agenda, other stuff comes out,
Yeah.
whether it be stuff we want, psyche stuff or whatever,
Yeah.
And also it's kind of the premise of our podcast is just being authentic and real,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always
Conversational. But for the sake of plan or agenda, let's talk just loosely. I don't know about you, but I'm on my second cup of coffee. And here, East Coast time, it's 12. So that's just whoa, I'm pushing it, man. Because if I have 2 cups of coffee past, if I even have 2 cups of coffee, I can't sleep. But segue here, I'm not sleeping very well. It's been for a little bit, but since I've turned, a certain age. But what about you? How's your sleep?
It fluctuates. It's been better actually for a while than it had been, but there are times when it's not good and I'm up just awake in the middle of the night. I noticed, we try to do a date night on Wednesday nights. And so Wednesday we went out to this restaurant and for whatever reason, I was like, I'm just going to have whatever I want. So I had 2 drinks and kind of a rich food.
Party.
It was delicious. Party eating. It was delicious. It was so good. And I'm glad I had it. But I mean, that's not that, what I had wasn't that extravagant. I don't think at least, but the way that it impacts my body now that I'm getting older is something I'm noticing and so I was up in the middle of the night, for a while with it just feeling so hot and having trouble sleeping after that because of what I ate and drank, which would have been something, 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, I could have totally tolerated. But now that I'm getting older, 45, it just hits differently and it impacts me differently. And that's a big thing right now.
Yeah, big time. Totally. Yeah, I'm the same. I know when the nights I'll probably have a harder time getting to sleep, falling asleep. And when I do wake up, I can't fall asleep. Also, if I'm lucky, sarcasm, I'm drenched in sweat. I don't know about if you're having that. I'll be 43 in September. But since turning 40, I've been gradually noticing and experiencing all of these classic perimenopause I'm not in menopause, I'm still menstruating, but symptoms that are what the fuck here, and when you experience them, you don't, at least for me, I don't when I first was experiencing, I didn't even connect them to, oh, this must be perimenopause because I mean, I'm still 25,
Yeah.
life I'm
Yeah.
than I actually am. But I've noticed it more. Heart racing for no reason. I'm not even anxious. There's nothing to worry about. And it's just, oh, there you are. it's I'm running a marathon,
Yeah.
but or like a sprint. Does that happen to you?
Not heart racing, but definitely different things. I mean, sleep is probably my biggest so I am taking just like very low doses, but I'm taking progesterone and testosterone, and I have been for a year now, maybe.
Yeah.
But that has been hugely helpful. So before that, I was having a lot of trouble sleeping, just like feeling like more anxious, like tired, like that midday like crash, just like a lot of stuff was happening. I just wasn't feeling good overall. And then once I started taking the low dose hormone replacement, it has changed. So I'm actually in a much better place now than I was before. But I am noticing like little, like I've been thinking maybe I need to have my blood work done again because things are shifting a little bit. I'm noticing a little bit more brain fog, which is weird.
Yes, big time.
Not remembering things I used to, which, when for me, I'm so used to, for better or worse, if you tell me something like I'm gonna remember it, or if I'm like, I need to remember to do that thing, I'll almost like obsess over it until I do it. But that's not there's some things where I'm like, holy shit, I would have remembered that. And I am so surprised that I didn't. And I honestly, part of me kind of likes it because it feels
right.
It feels less stressful.
Yes.
It's weird. It's different. It's not how I operated before. So it's different seeing that change happen.
Like less obsessive.
Less obsessive.
It allows you to be forgetful, which is actually refreshing. Can be refreshing for someone who has predispositions to OCD or obsessive or rumination or whatever. Yeah. What I've noticed a lot in me, I think this is actually good to talk about because like just given our ages and whoever is going to be listening to this, like I hope this is validating just kind of hearing some of these experiences because as I'm hearing you talk, I'm like, some of the things it's not resonating, but then some other things I'm like, yes. What I've noticed for me, I'll just have something super important that I have to go get in the house. Oh, but it's in that room. It's in the living room. I go, it's not even 3 seconds, not even 4 seconds. I go into the living room. I'm like, what do I want? What do I need? What the fuck? And I'm like, this is either perimenopause, brain fog, or early onset dementia, Alzheimer's. Holy shit, let's hope it's perimenopause. But I have been noticing that more. Similarly to you, I've been on like a low dose progesterone cream. But I have a feeling I need something else because I've been, again, since 40, since having Arthur, which is my second kid, my last kid, I have had chronic migraines, particularly when it's like they can happen like few days before I menstruate. But lately, I've noticed that they just come whenever. Doesn't even matter if it's like a day before or 2 days. It's like it could happen like in my ovulation phase. And so anyway, that's I'm seeing a functional medicine practitioner. She recommended the progesterone cream to help with those headache migraines. Just hearing you talk about like, maybe I should go get my bill. I'm like, because I'm getting older, like I think I might need to do another more comprehensive panel. Have you done the Dutch test?
No, I don't even know what that is.
Okay, so it is, okay, I'm going to see if I can do the dried urine test. Comprehensive something. I could be totally butchering it. But anyway, it tests the levels of, I guess, your hormones to see where you are in perimenopause, menopause. But the thing is actually after reading, actually, you told me about this book, The New Menopause by Claire Haver or something. I was reading, I don't know if you read through this, but that the Dutch test is really finicky and it can be really hard. It's like not as like trustworthy, I guess. So anyway, I'm going to just this is just a mental reminder again. And I don't know if I'm going to forget this. I hope I don't. Well, I'll use this as my reminder. I'm thankful we have this podcast because it will help with my brain fog.
You can put our to-do list here.
Exactly. Like things not to remember, or I'm sorry, things not to
Things
forget.
not to forget.
Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we are still, though, like, in my experience, at least, when people think of menopause, I think they think of like 50, 55, 60, like still older than we are. So I think we
Right.
are still on the younger side of where people who maybe don't know a lot about it, where me, 10, 15 years ago would have thought, like, in your 40s, oh no, that's not menopause or perimenopause, right? So, like, I don't think that's the first place somebody who's our age
Exactly.
or somebody who knows us would go to as a reason for our symptoms. So, somebody who's not very educated in it. Oh, that was a lot of words. But how did you come to the conclusion then that this was perimenopause for you?
Yeah, because it kept becoming, it was just like clockwork and so frequent. And actually that's why I went to go see the functional medicine practitioner, was because they were happening like too often to not have anyone look at it. Because I mean, once in a while I used to get like migraines or headaches just as a symptom of menstruation, right? But they were getting more profound, like more like, I mean, I'm talking like it would last 24 hours. And it was hard to function, having a practice, having kids. It was just like, okay, what is the deal here? I even went to a neurologist to see if I had a freaking MRI on my brain because they were so frequent. Nothing, like there was no abnormalities, there were no like, thank God. I mean, my brain's okay. But so that's when I was like, okay, well, why don't I go see a functional medicine doctor? So there may be something else going on.
Yeah.
Like it's not neurological, it's not like physiological, whatever. It is probably hormonal. And that's when she was like, let's try you on progesterone. And the thing is that have they gone away? No. But when, again, this is back to the symptoms, when I remember to do it, which isn't a lot, I get better sleep. And if I do have a migraine, it's less. It lasts short. It's a shorter duration.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that crazy though? Blows my mind that given that we're female, given, what age we are, and given that this happens to every single female, that where we go first is maybe I have a brain tumor.
Yeah, right.
Not, oh, maybe I'm in perimenopause.
Right. Right. Yeah. And because well, when I went to the neurologist, I think I was just about I wasn't even 40 yet. So I was like, of course I have a brain tumor. I mean,
of course.
What am I going to do here?
And Dubs probably has one too.
Yeah, I was like, oh God, I got to call Dubs. She's probably in the MRI as we speak. That's our cosmic connections. Yeah. But yeah, like I know it. Well, that also, it's a good point. And it's so like silly and ridiculous to hear you say that out loud, but it makes sense because Western medicine doesn't fund, never thought it was, big enough to research and to provide more intervention around perimenopause, menopause.
Yeah.
I mean, until now, I mean, and we have just cracked the freaking surface. So it's like, which also, I mean, that could go down into a whole other thing around women and how our health, our wellness, our mental health, our hormonal health, and who decides that it's important to fund and to research and to provide reputable intervention and treatment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know it's like, it can't be hormones, like
It must be my brain tumor.
I want to
Yeah.
hope that in 20 years from now, women in our situation won't be spending $1,000, thousands of dollars on these crazy diagnostic MRIs and everything else. They will say, oh, because there's more research on hormones, I'm going to instead check with my.
Yeah, maybe this is the first thing we look at.
Maybe.
The most likely, probably.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And the only, as you know, I went through a whole fertility journey. How long ago has it been now?
And how old were you when that
I
was?
think it first started when I was 38 or 39, and I'm 45 now. So, and it lasted for a couple of years, but we can get more into that. But as a part of that, I had to do a lot of like blood work and a lot of hormonal testing. And one of the first things I found out actually was just that my hormones were lower than the average 38-year-old. And so the conclusion to that was one conclusion to that was that you will probably go into menopause earlier than average. So that was on my radar from, it's been on my radar for however many years, like 8 years or 7, whatever many years that is now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the only reason that for me, I thought about that, when I was having like these symptoms, I thought maybe it's perimenopause and was able to find a doctor who I could get those hormones from and feel better. But otherwise, I don't think that's what I would have thought of. And because that's my experience, I don't talk about it a lot, but I've mentioned that with other people in my life and mentioned that around both males and females. And it's been so interesting to me because there's been a couple people, all males, but a couple people who have the mention of perimenopause in association with me and my age has almost been received as like horror. Like, what? Like it's like not even on their radar that that's a possibility because I haven't asked, but my assumption is based off of the response is in their brains, menopause is like a 60-year-old thing. And so me and therefore, any other female in their life who's in that same circle it's not even a possibility that they would be in that. And the suggestion of it is crazy. So that's been really interesting to me, just observing other people's first suggestion or receiving the first suggestion that we might be in an age where this is the thing.
So are you seeing that in more of that kind of aghast reaction from males than females?
I've seen it from a couple males like that would like wasn't even on their radar, which I get that's not something that they need to be thinking about necessarily, but just the idea that somebody within their age range could even be talking about that as a possibility seemed as if it was like very surprising.
See, even that said, it's like that really connects to the point around the lack of like what this means, perimenopause, menopause, not only for women in it or about to go in it, but for like males, husbands, partners of women. And it's interesting too when you said, oh yeah, it was like this like visceral like horror, that hurts my heart to hear because it's like, wow, kind of like shame on the US or whatever, like the world. I don't know about other countries. I should, but to have menopause and perimenopause be so tainted with ick and gross, oh God, death. You're done. You're like expired. That hurts my heart. And it like makes me more kind of like wanting to advocate and use our agencies as women to normalize and validate our experiences. And
Mhm.
also to have the men that are partnered up or married, whatever, also validate what they're experiencing vicariously with their wives,
Yeah.
with their partners.
Yeah.
I mean, I talk to my husband about he sees my symptoms. Like he's like, oh, do you want your migraine pill? It's not an actual migraine pill. Oh God, it's acetaminophen, caffeine, and a low dose of a barbiturate. My OB at the time prescribed it because I can't take NSAIDs because of my Crohn's. But anyway, that sometimes helps. And so my husband, it's interesting you're saying this because actually now that I'm thinking about it, Seth, that's my husband's name. He has never actually said the word perimenopause,
Mm.
but I say it to him all the time. So I
Interesting.
think after this podcast, I am going to ask Seth, why is it that you never
Yeah.
talk about or bring up perimenopause when
Yeah.
I have literally, there's no breadcrumbs. I'm leaving full baguettes out. Like I talk about it all the time. I mean, there's no surprise that your wife is in perimenopause, but
Yeah.
he does, like, he checks in with me. How are you feeling? Like, oh, that must suck. Oh, what do you need? But so this just gives me
That is interesting.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
ask him.
I'm going to ask him.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah. I won't, this won't be published for a while. So
Maybe we can get Seth on here.
could you imagine? Maybe we should have our partners on
Yeah,
here.
that would be fun for us. Yeah, so it's very interesting. And I've had conversations with female friends who are my age or even some a little bit older, just sharing like my experiences. And it feels like to a lot of people, it's still not something they want to think about yet or consider as being the thing, and just, I don't know, continue on speculating, but not knowing for sure, which for me, again, having seen, and I know everybody's experience is different, so I'm not necessarily saying anybody should or shouldn't do anything, but for me, having seen how positively being proactive and taking something has helped, like, why won't you, like, if you're suffering, like, at least look into it.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about what it was like going through all of those kind of like forced hormonal, because you had to give yourself shots through IVF and such.
Yeah.
So like how many times did you have to do IVF? How long was that? And what was your experience?
The whole fertility thing, it was terrible. So it started when I was either just like 38 or 39. I was just about to turn 39 or had just turned 39. And it started because I was like, oh shit, I'm 39, knowing that, and I don't have kids. And that had always been something that I had envisioned having. But I had never, I didn't know, I had no information. So I was like, I'll just start by taking a blood test just to see what my hormones are. So that was the first thing I did. And then the results of that weren't good through the lens of trying to have children, because as I said, the results were that my hormone, I'm not going to use the right terminology because I don't know it, but whatever, my hormone levels were lower and of a lower quality than the average, even in my age group. So that meant that it would be that much harder for me to get pregnant and that much earlier that I would go into menopause, as I said. So that was the first piece of information that I was given within it. And then I was like, oh shit. And then so started really thinking about it more seriously. And we met with a fertility doctor and started trying to be more active in it. So I don't think I started with medication right away, but we did not a couple, in total, maybe, I don't know, I couldn't even tell you, up to 10, maybe that's a little high, but
10
rounds,
what?
rounds
10
of 10
IUI.
was probably a little high, but IUI, yes. IUI. what does that stand for?
Interuterine. Look at us.
What it used to, I
I
think,
don't know.
it used to, I mean, when I first heard it, old terminology is what I knew, which is artificial insemination. They
Yeah,
don't use
right.
that terminology anymore, but that's what it
Right.
is. So we did maybe up to 10 rounds of that over the course of a couple years, probably.
Yeah.
But that was the first line of treatment that we tried. Well,
So
actually,
were you taking like Clomid or
no,
like?
well, I did, but actually, sorry, this was a long period that was very complicated. But before I actually started that, before we actually started the official treatment, I did get pregnant.
Remember
But
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but that was interesting. I think it was because I just met with the doctor and he had come up with this like treatment plan that felt like really good and like comprehensive, and it felt like he knew what he was doing. And so I was like, felt a little more relaxed, and I wouldn't be surprised if that contributed to the ability to get pregnant. But I found out about it. I took a pregnancy test, knew I was pregnant, and then 2 days later I had a miscarriage. So it was such a short period of time that I had that. So that happened. And then yes, IUI, I do think I took Clomid, but then fairly soon after switched to a different medication. I can't tell you what, but I took a lot of oral medication, a lot of pills, and it synchronized with a lot of rounds of IUI. And then none of that did anything. And then COVID came around. And so for a while they shut down all treatment because you couldn't go to the doctor's office. So that was kind of just this waiting game, which by this time I'm like 40, and it's like I can't wait so long, or I can't wait too long without missing this window. Eventually we were able to go back to the doctor still during 2020 and start doing treatments again. And then I don't remember the exact timeline, but I ended up doing 2 rounds of IVF. The first round, so this is intense. This is where the medication switched to shots, and I had to give myself, or my partner had to give me shots daily for a month. And then it gets to a certain point, I think like the last week or something, they have to be given like at the same time every day. And a lot of them were tiny needles, but the last bit were like big needles. And he had to give them to me, and he hated having to do that because I'm like squirming away from it. I'm like, don't do it. I don't want it. And so he had to force this thing that I didn't want, and oh God, it was terrible for everybody. But they're hormones, so they're messing with my emotions, and I was like crying at random stuff. I had to go to regular doctor's appointments to like monitor things, and so I in hindsight I don't like the way I did it, but I like would go to these 7 a.m. doctor's appointments and then go see a full day of clients afterwards. It was freaking terrible. But I was in such this place of like fight or flight or desperation, like I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, that I just like it got really intense. And so yeah, I did 1 round of IVF. Oh yeah, so then they do an egg retrieval. So they're trying to put all these hormones into you in the hopes that your body will create a lot of eggs so that they can do a surgery and remove those eggs, so they have a lot of stuff to work with. So they did the surgery and they only got 2 eggs, which is not good. Like they were looking for like 20. And then once they went to go look at them, they realized that there was no genetic material in the eggs, so they weren't worth anything. Anyway, so all of that was for nothing, essentially.
So frustrating.
Yeah. And then we tried another round, and my body just wasn't responding to the medication. It wasn't producing the eggs. So it got to a certain point where they said this isn't even worthwhile to continue. So they just canceled the cycle and stopped it. So it was a shit show.
Wow. Wow. And what was the end?
Well, so this is not even the end yet. So during this whole time we had been connected with, we had friends who knew this lawyer couple who had gone through a whole fertility journey for themselves, and they had a son from that, but they had decided that they just wanted the one child, but they had, I think, 2 remaining embryos, and they were looking to do something with those embryos. So this is like kind of crazy to even consider this was real, but we ended up meeting with them and talking with them, and they just gave us these embryos. So we went to this fertility clinic to like pick up the embryos and take them to our doctor, and they gave us this huge cooler. I mean, it's a very technological cooler, but this huge cooler, and put the embryos in them, and we put them in the car and seatbelted them in and drove them over to our doctor's office so they could store them, so they could use them. And so we owned, I guess, these embryos, and I think we just held on to them for a little bit, but then eventually I did do an embryo transfer where we did both of them at the same time. The chances tend to be better with more than one embryo, so we did both of them at the same time. So they, again, I'm forgetting the terminology, but they inserted those 2 embryos, and then you wait a couple weeks to see if they take, if you're pregnant. And I was pregnant for, again, about a couple days, but then lost it again.
Oh gosh.
So the idea there was that we would be adopting these embryos, which would not be our biological children, but really having those. So
wow.
So that was
what
the
a
last
story. What a story.
Yeah, that was the last attempt, and then that I was just like, I'm done. I don't. Well, it was like we need a break first.
Right.
So to stop being actively doing anything.
Right.
And then after a break of a couple months, maybe, then I was like, I actually don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
And of course, with that decision comes the bigger meaning of not doing that again is meaning probably not going to have children unless we did adoption. So I had to come to terms with that, but I did come to terms with it.
You did. Yeah. I mean, just even hearing that story, it's like there's so many multi-layers of grief.
Yes.
Like grieving the control of your body during those times, like you're being captive by these hormones, but for like this bigger, greater thing that we don't really have control if it's going to work or not. And then to grieve, like in the pandemic, to think, oh my God, if we can't do this, how long is this going to have? Are we going to have the opportunity? Like being at the whims of like a pandemic, and then to like grieve these 2 embryos. It's like, and to also grieve the concept of, I mean, that's just like so much grief.
There's so many layers of complexity in it, which is not done. It will be continually evolving for me, just as like I have come to terms with it, but that's also, not having children is going to mean a different thing to me when I'm 70 than when I'm 45, right? So it's going to be a continually evolving thing.
Right. But the ways that you even tell this story, I can sense that you've done a lot of work on, kind of not reconciling, but like moving through some of the wishes and the realities, if that makes sense. Like, moving through some of those things, that the hopes, the dreams.
Yeah. Oh, I for sure have. But, it's interesting because this still tying it into the perimenopause conversation, like it's softened a lot for me recently, but, 1, 2, maybe 3 years ago, when I was having maybe the beginnings of the perimenopause stuff, I think actually probably where that first started for me was just irregularities in my cycle. And so there were definitely a lot of times where I wouldn't get my period when I thought I should have, because my cycle was changing. And then there's the that little voice in the back of your head, but what if you're pregnant? Should I take a pregnancy test? And I'm like, I don't want to fucking take another pregnancy test,
exactly.
Like I'm over it. I don't want to keep taking these pregnancy tests. But then there's this, I had this battle, like, but what if, like, then you probably shouldn't be drinking wine or what, like, then you shouldn't be doing whatever it is you're doing, whatever.
What a chokehold.
Oh yeah. So there was all this for a while still, even though I had surrendered to the fact that I was not pursuing these treatments anymore. I recognized what that meant. There was still this, because my cycle was irregular. I'm like, I chose not to still be in this, but yet I'm still in this. Like, I still have to decide whether or not I'm going to take a pregnancy test. And it followed you. Yeah. Like, I couldn't get away from it.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And so that was hard. That was hard too.
I bet. Just like the timing of like the aging of your body.
Yeah.
When you started to say, okay, no, we're done with this part, this chapter, this like fertility chapter. And then, okay. Then I'm just going to make it even more confusing.
Yeah.
And oh, wow. Oh God.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, like, we have talked about this before, but I feel like every time we haven't talked about it a lot, but I feel like I'm learning more. I've learned more about it, your process, your journey today. So
yeah,
thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. It's not, I mean, I don't talk about it that much, not intentionally, not because I don't want to. It just, I don't know. It doesn't come up in everyday conversation.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, like like, think about the miscarriages. I can't even talk about all the miscarriages we've had just together, but combined. That also, I think it's getting better, but like normalizing miscarriage.
Yeah.
And not have it so taboo, and not have it so, it doesn't always have to be like,
yeah.
Like, well, I've done the grief, but thank you. And, but just let's normalize this too. Because we can feel both. We can feel grief, and we can also feel empowered by it.
Yeah, for sure. And it was crazy that like when Clint and I were going through it, we talked about a lot, like nobody, you don't know that anybody's experienced this until you've experienced it and you start talking about it. And then people are like, oh, me too. Oh, me too. Me too. And then you're like, what the fuck? How come I didn't know this before? Like, why did we not talk about this? But apparently all these people have gone through something sort of similar.
Yes. And it brings us together. It makes us human.
I know.
It's vulnerable. It's bonding. It strengthens our, egos.
Yeah. I don't know why we don't talk about it more.
Well, yeah. I mean, things that are kind of like, I can understand how people who don't have experience or haven't had experience witnessing it, like, can maybe have a little discomfort, not knowing what to relate to, not knowing what to say, not, but yeah, I think I've noticed just more like normalization around it. But it's, I mean, we have a ways to go, but
there's definitely more than there used to be.
Yeah. So what else we got going on?
What else we got? I don't know. My brain fog, my perimenopause brain is a little slow today.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, same here. That's why, hence the coffee. Well, I know, like, before we signed on, I asked you about all fours, which, I mean, it's this book that I've read that is so tied into this topic that we're talking about today. It's this book called All Fours. The author's Miranda July, I believe. And anyway, she's our age, has a child, been in a marriage for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, and has experiencing same things, but like sexually, her libido has tanked. And she's been also in kind of like a fog, depression, pretty severe depression. But she plays like, it's a fiction, but she plays like this character where she's, she used to, in her ripe, like 20s, 30, I think she was like a model or some famous, she was like a A-list, B-list model or whatever. They never really actually say in the book, but she has a following. But 20 years later, she feels so like identityless because of her age, where she is in her perimenopause, and also like this kind of existential, oh shit, I gotta get moving. She finds out, so she like goes and away on this trip to go find herself, and her husband's like, go for it, sweetie, I got it over here. It was her plan to go to New York, but she stops, and they're from LA. She stops like 20 miles out of LA, and she checks into this hotel in Monrovia. I don't know if you've ever been in Monrovia, but it's like, it's just like industrial. Anyway, I don't want to talk too much about it, but she like falls in love with this guy and much younger, and she figures out that, oh my gosh, I'm not sexually dead. Like she, she's like this coming of her age. I think being so sedentary, being in her marriage, when you're in depression, it's like you can't get out of it until you're out of it, until you like force yourself out of it. But she meets with her doctor, and her doctor's like, you're in perimenopause, and when you reach menopause, you really tank sexually. You have vaginal dryness, you have low libido, and so you really have about so many years. And she's like, what? So she comes back to her life with her husband, and she begins this open marriage. They see other people, and she becomes this super sexual person. Anyway, she starts taking HRT. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because there's such a identity and sexual component to perimenopause, just like how we identify ourselves as sexual beings. Like back to your comment about the males, like with horror, women are doing that about themselves too.
Yeah.
I'm not sexy. Who would want me? Like, I'm just this old hag. And there are certain symptoms that can really exacerbate that, like loss of identity.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm bringing up this book because I think that's also a component to perimenopause where we can kind of lose ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like this existential shift of who are we, not only sexually, but who are we as because we start to change our skin, we lose elasticity, we have wrinkles, we change.
We have movie arms.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is another thing. Like when my kids will go,
Why are your arms so movie?
Yeah. Why chunky mommy? I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love how you're unfiltered, boys, but
come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. And it made me think of, this is similar but different. And I have never said this out loud, but one thing that I've noticed in the last, I don't know, 5 years, 8 years, I don't know how long it's been. But so granted, part of the issue here is I don't leave my house as much. But separate from that, one thing I've noticed that I miss, a part of me misses, is getting hit on.
Oh yeah.
Or going out to a bar or whatever, and having somebody just buy you a drink. Like, that hasn't happened to me in freaking forever. I don't even know how long. Like, that hasn't happened to me. And and again, I don't go out to bars, so it's not like I'm inviting that situation to happen either, but I miss it sometimes.
Yeah. Like those types of things that we just took for granted. Like it didn't matter where we went, we would go, and it was always.
I was just thinking of the time we were in Venice Beach, and I don't know we went to some restaurant or bar or whatever, and there was a line like down the street to get in, and we got out of the cab, and the bouncer's just like, "You two," and, like pointed at us and like pulled us in, and we're like, "Whoa, what?" Like we weren't even trying. We just got out of the cab. Yeah.
Oh God, those were the days, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that was just like, that was for better or for worse. That was part of our normal life, and that is not a part of my normal life anymore.
Same.
And so like just a shifting of, whoa, this was so much tied into just it wasn't who I was, but it was just like what my life looked like. And so now what does it mean that I don't have that? Like just kind of wrapping your head around that.
Such a good question.
Yeah.
And you know, I think that's a really big question that a lot of women, I can assume, are also asking themselves as their body, whether they like it or not, hormonally, physiologically, physically is changing. Whether it be gradual or abrupt, it still can be jarring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
We should do a test run. I should, it's my turn to go out to you. You've been to Maine a lot. I got to go out to see you. We should just go out
and go out to the bars and see if we get hit on.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can be our best selves and just like do a study. Like
yeah. Oh my gosh, we should do that.
Oh, I want to.
We should do that.
Oh my
do a live recording.
We should go to our yes. Oh, that was a good idea. We should go to like the old places that we used to go to in Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Remember Club Mike? CM?
Yeah. Not even a real club, just somebody's house. But yeah,
just somebody's house. Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I would do that totally. And I'd be really curious about that. But I also, like, a part of me is like, we're scared that it would feel really sad.
But here's the deal. At least we'll be sad together.
Yeah.
Well, we can console each other and tell each other it's going to be okay. And then we can go home and eat snacks.
And be like, never again are we leaving our house.
Right. Exactly. We'll have a good charcuterie board.
And then we'll sleep like shit that night because we had some drinks and then
carbs.
And then the next day we'll be like,
and then we'll go sweat it out in like a hot yoga or something.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I forgot to check the time when we started, but this is probably about time.
I think we're at time.
Yeah. Probably right around.
But yeah, hopefully whoever's listening, you're finding a little bit of validation and I don't know, clarity on some of the things that you may be experiencing. But either way, it feels good just to say all these things out loud in a safe space because these things are like not the most comfortable, things to experience. But this also, I just want to say, like, how badass are women? I mean, we are like baddies, like bad bitch bosses of our own bodies. It's like how resilient we are just existing.
Yeah.
Like friggin' what the heck? Men don't have to go through these things.
No. It is pretty amazing.
I know.
Yeah, like everything about, in reading that book, like everything about, in unscientific terms, everything about your constitution like changes, and yet we still continue on.
Totally. Yep. That's right. Well,
yeah.
Any last words?
No. You?
Cool. Not really. No. Just that I
check
can't
your
wait.
Hormones.
Yeah, check your hormones. Don't rush to the MRI and get a CAT scan and a brain scan. I mean, unless, of course, I don't know, there's something.
Unless it's real.
Unless it's real.
But if it's hormonal, not necessary.
Yeah. Just check, see like, okay, am I in the age range? Are other things changing in my body? Like, am I a woman? Okay, maybe you can check. Yeah.
Also, don't take medical advice from us.
Yeah, this is not our scope of practice. Okay, disclaimer. We are not medical doctors.
We are not.
Nope.
We don't know what we're talking about over here.
No, we are therapists, licensed therapists, but we do not.
But we are not your therapist.
We are not your therapist. Okay, we are not your therapist. Okay, say it again. So yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right. Well, I can't wait to see you on the other end here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. See you next time.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
That's our episode. Proof that therapists can overshare too. If you're leaving this feeling a little more human, good. That's kind of the point. Send this to someone who gets it, or someone who really needs to. We'll be back soon with more stories, more tenderness, and a rotating cast of unresolved issues. And maybe a few coping skills. Maybe. Until then, hold yourself like you would someone you love.